4 breaths a minute. Just 4. That's how slowly a creature breathes while outliving empires, watching entire eras rise and collapse, and quietly continuing on while everything around it turns to dust. Right now, somewhere near the remote waters of the Galapagos Islands, an ancient giant tortoise is taking a slow, deliberate breath. It isn't rushing. It has nowhere to be. It may still have another 100 years ahead of it. Now think about your own breathing. 12 breaths a minute, 15, maybe 20. You breathe 5 times faster than this animal, and most people live 5 times less. Coincidence? For centuries, scientists tried to uncover the secret behind the extraordinary longevity of giant tortoises. They studied diet, environment, genetics, and metabolism. But the answer was sitting in plain sight the entire time. Breathing, slow, rhythmic, conscious breathing. 4 breaths a minute creates a completely different rhythm of life. Every inhale becomes meaningful. Every exhale carries intention. This isn't just oxygen moving through the body. It's an entirely different way of existing. The tortoise doesn't fight life. It moves with it. It doesn't waste energy on panic, rushing, stress, or constant mental noise. It preserves energy, stores it, builds it over years, decades, and centuries. And here's the part most people miss. This secret doesn't belong only to tortoises. You already have access to the same tool. Right now. You've simply forgotten how to use it. What if mastering slow, conscious breathing could unlock something extraordinary inside you? What if it could help you influence your subconscious mind, reshape your inner world, and begin changing the reality around you? It sounds mystical, but thousands of years ago, people already understood this. Ancient spiritual texts describe techniques modern neuroscience is only beginning to validate. These practices don't work because people believe in them. They work because they are connected to the laws governing the nervous system, attention, emotion, and consciousness itself. And at the center of all of it is breathing, how you inhale, how you exhale. And most importantly, what happens in the pause between them, because the real power lives in that pause. In the silence between inhale and exhale, a doorway opens, one most people never even notice exists. The tortoise enters that doorway 4 times every minute. Most people rush past it 20 times a minute without realizing it's there. But today, that changes, because by the end of this guide, you'll understand a practice that has survived for thousands of years, a practice connecting ancient wisdom with modern science. And it may completely change the way you experience your mind, body, and life. In the ancient Sanskrit text known as the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, there is a dialogue that transformed the understanding of human consciousness. In this conversation, Shiva explains to Parvati 112 methods of spiritual awakening, 112 pathways to expanding awareness. Among all of them, one method stood above the rest: breathing. Shiva didn't describe elaborate rituals or years of religious training. He pointed toward something so natural, so simple, that people overlook it every single day: the practice of conscious breathing. A method said to open direct access to the subconscious mind, the hidden part of you that controls nearly 95% of your behavior, reactions, and patterns. In these teachings, there is a sacred state called Puravi. It is the still point between inhale and exhale, a suspended moment where mental noise fades, where time feels slower, where the barrier between conscious and subconscious becomes incredibly thin. In this state, people stop reacting automatically. They gain access to the deeper operating system beneath their personality, the place where beliefs, fears, habits, and identity are stored. And in that moment, something remarkable becomes possible. You can begin rewriting the patterns running your life. You can plant new beliefs, new emotional states, new expectations, new visions for your future. Maybe this sounds too mystical, too perfect, but here's what's fascinating. Modern neuroscience is beginning to reach many of the same conclusions. Studies show that slowing and holding the breath can shift brainwave activity from high-alert beta states into calmer alpha states. Alpha states are associated with relaxation, heightened suggestibility, creativity, emotional openness, and deep internal focus. When this happens, the brain's critical filtering system softens. The subconscious mind becomes more receptive. Scientists can observe measurable changes in nervous system activity, stress hormones, and emotional regulation through breathing practices. Ancient wisdom described these changes spiritually. Modern science measures them biologically. Different languages, same phenomenon, and both point to the same place, the pause between breaths. Manifestation is one of the most misunderstood ideas in modern self-development. Some people treat it like fantasy. Others think wishing hard enough will magically deliver success. Neither is true. Manifestation is not passive wishing. It is the process of aligning your thoughts, emotions, nervous system, and subconscious patterns with the reality you want to create. Because your subconscious mind is constantly shaping your perception, decisions, reactions, habits, and opportunities. Imagine your subconscious as a massive fertile garden. Every thought you repeat, every emotional pattern, every belief, every fear, every assumption, all of them are seeds. And the subconscious does not judge which seeds are good or bad. It simply grows whatever is planted repeatedly. Plant fear, and your mind will search for reasons to feel unsafe. Plant doubt, and life begins confirming your limitations. Plant the belief that you are unworthy, and your behavior unconsciously moves in that direction. Most people never realize they spend years planting weeds. Every "I can't," every "nothing ever works out for me," every anxious inner conversation. Seed after seed. Eventually, the inner garden becomes overrun. But here's the good news. The garden can be cleared. New seeds can be planted. And conscious breathing is one of the keys that opens the gate. Because breathing is the bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind. Most people are not living in true danger, but their nervous systems act as if they are. Watch your breathing right now. Chances are it's shallow, fast, focused in the upper chest. That is survival breathing. It signals stress to the nervous system. It keeps the body prepared for threat. It floods the system with stress hormones, even when no real danger exists. This creates a loop. Stress causes shallow breathing. Shallow breathing increases stress. And the cycle continues endlessly. But the moment breathing changes, the nervous system begins changing too. A slow inhale tells the body, "You're safe." A long controlled exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system connected to recovery, healing, calmness, and restoration. Mental noise slows down. Anxiety softens. The body relaxes. And in that silence, people often begin hearing something deeper beneath fear and mental chatter. Ancient yogic traditions describe this process through energetic channels. Ida, the lunar channel connected to intuition and calm. Pingala, the solar channel connected to action and logic. And Sushumna, the central channel associated with balance and transformation. When the system is out of balance, people swing between exhaustion and overactivity, anxiety and numbness. But conscious breathing helps restore balance, and balance changes perception. Nearly all human behavior happens automatically. Your subconscious mind controls habits, emotional reactions, learned behaviors, and internal patterns long before conscious thought catches up. Most people think they are consciously directing their lives. But conscious awareness is only a tiny fraction of mental activity. The subconscious is the deeper current underneath everything, and it does not communicate through logic. It responds to emotion, imagery, repetition, sensation. That's why repeating positive statements without emotional connection rarely changes anything. But when emotional states combine with altered nervous system states, especially during deep relaxation, the subconscious becomes far more receptive. This is why breathing matters so much. Holding the breath briefly and intentionally creates a neurological interruption. Brainwave activity shifts. Mental resistance softens. The nervous system enters a more suggestible state. And in that moment, new emotional patterns can begin taking root. There's also another physiological effect. During short breath retention, carbon dioxide levels rise slightly. In controlled amounts, this can help dilate blood vessels and increase circulation to the brain. Many people report heightened clarity, stronger focus, and a greater sense of presence. Ancient practitioners didn't use scientific terminology for this, but through direct experience, they understood that breath changes consciousness, and they built entire systems around it. Most people live trapped between extremes, Too much action followed by burnout. Too much thinking followed by paralysis. Constant mental swings that never fully stop. But conscious breathing begins restoring internal balance. And from that balance, transformation becomes possible. Most people live with shallow, fast breathing centered in the upper chest. That's the breathing pattern of someone stuck in survival mode, the body preparing to fight, run, or stay on alert. Your nervous system hears that signal every second of the day and responds by flooding your body with stress hormones, even when you're lying safely in bed. This creates a loop. Stress causes shallow breathing, and shallow breathing creates even more stress. Day after day, people stay trapped in that cycle without understanding why life feels heavy, why their goals never seem to materialize, or why they feel disconnected from peace. But the moment you change your breathing, the cycle begins to break. A slow, deep inhale tells your body, you're safe. A long, controlled exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest, healing, recovery, and calm. As that happens, the endless noise in the mind starts to quiet down, anxiety softens, thoughts slow. And in that silence, something remarkable appears, the deeper voice within you. Ancient traditions understood this long before neuroscience existed. Yogic teachings described 3 major energy channels within the body. Ida represented calmness, intuition, and receptive energy. Pingala represented action, logic, and drive, and Sushumna, the central channel running along the spine, represented balance and transformation. When Ida and Pingala are out of balance, people swing between extremes. Too much passive energy leads to laziness and dreaming without action. Too much active energy leads to burnout, stress, and constant motion without direction. But through conscious breathing, those forces begin to balance. And when they do, the central channel awakens, the path of transformation. Modern science now confirms something astonishing. Most of your life is controlled not by conscious thought, but by the subconscious mind. Nearly everything, habits, reactions, emotional patterns, beliefs, runs automatically beneath awareness. Your conscious mind is only the surface. The subconscious is the massive structure underneath, quietly steering the direction of your life. And the subconscious doesn't communicate through words. You can repeat affirmations all day long without changing anything if no emotion is attached. The subconscious responds to feelings, imagery, sensation, and repetition. That is its language. This is why breathwork matters so deeply. Conscious breathing directly affects the autonomic nervous system, the bridge between your body and subconscious mind. When you intentionally hold your breath for a few seconds, your brain activity begins to shift. The fast beta wave state associated with stress and constant thinking slows down into alpha waves, a relaxed but highly receptive state. In this state, the critical inner voice quiets down. The subconscious becomes more open to suggestion, new beliefs, and emotional programming. Something else happens during breath retention too. Carbon dioxide levels in the blood rise slightly. Most people think carbon dioxide is only waste, but in controlled amounts, it plays an important role. It widens blood vessels, increasing circulation and improving blood flow to the brain. That means more oxygen, more nutrients, and sharper mental clarity. People often describe feeling intensely focused after these breathing practices, calmer, clearer, and more present than they've felt in years. Ancient yogis understood this through direct experience, even without modern technology. They believed breath-controlled prana, life force energy flowing through all living things, and through centuries of practice, they developed methods to direct that energy consciously. One of the most powerful tools they used was a mantra synchronized with the rhythm of breath itself. So hum. These 2 syllables carry a simple meaning. I am that. I am part of the infinite. Listen closely to your breathing and you'll notice something fascinating. The inhale naturally sounds like so. The exhale resembles hum. In a way, your body has been repeating this mantra your entire life without you noticing. With every inhale, the sound whispers so, the universal consciousness, the infinite source. With every exhale, hum, the self. Together, they become a reminder that you are not separate from life itself. When synchronized consciously with breathing, the mantra begins calming the mind almost immediately. Fear and mental chatter lose their grip. A sense of connection and inner stillness starts to emerge. Think again about the giant tortoise. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It conserves energy instead of wasting it in constant reaction. It moves in harmony with life. You can learn to do the same. Not by literally breathing only 4 times a minute overnight, but by slowing your internal rhythm enough to stop leaking energy through fear, overthinking, and stress. Breath becomes more than oxygen. It becomes a doorway into a different state of being. And now, it's time to learn the exact method. Ancient texts spoke of 111 conscious breaths as a path toward transformation, but you don't need to begin there. Start small. Even 5 conscious breathing cycles can create noticeable changes. Step 1. Preparation. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. You can sit in a chair, cross-legged on the floor, or even lie down if you won't fall asleep. Close your eyes, take a few natural breaths, and allow your body to relax. Release tension in your shoulders, relax your jaw, soften your forehead. Now set a clear intention. Ask yourself honestly, what do I truly want? Be specific. Not, I want happiness, but what would actually create fulfillment for you? Not simply, I want money, but how much and why? What would change in your life? Then connect emotionally to that desire. This is critical. The subconscious responds to emotion, not empty words. If your intention carries no feeling, it stays weak. But when you feel gratitude, excitement, peace, or joy, as if your desire already exists, you plant a powerful seed in the subconscious mind. And once that seed is planted, the breath becomes the tool that helps it grow. Now we come to the core of the practice, the breathing rhythm itself. 4, 7, 8. 3 numbers that can completely change the way your mind and body function. Here's how it works. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Don't rush it. Let the breath fill your lower belly first, then your ribs, then your upper chest. Most people breathe backward. They pull the stomach inward instead of allowing it to expand. Deep breathing starts from the diaphragm. Then hold the breath for 7 seconds. This is the sacred pause ancient traditions spoke about. The space between inhale and exhale where the mind becomes still and the subconscious opens. Don't strain. Don't tighten your throat. Simply hold the breath gently while staying relaxed. During these few seconds, your nervous system begins shifting states. Brain waves slow down. The analytical mind softens. Your body becomes highly receptive. Blood flow to the brain increases. Awareness sharpens. This is the perfect moment for inner programming. Then exhale slowly through the mouth for 8 seconds, longer than the inhale. The long exhale signals safety to the body and activates deep relaxation. With every breath out, imagine releasing tension, fear, doubt, and old emotional patterns. That's 1 cycle. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds out. Start with 5 cycles. That's enough. Even after a few minutes, many people notice a dramatic difference. More calm, more clarity, and a feeling of finally being present instead of trapped in anxiety about the future or regrets about the past. Over time, you can increase the number of cycles gradually. Some people eventually practice the full 111 conscious breaths described in ancient traditions. But don't force anything. If 7 seconds feels difficult, begin with 4. If 4 feels too long, start with 3. The key is not perfection. The key is awareness. But there's another layer that transforms this from a breathing exercise into a manifestation practice. The most important moment happens during the breath hold. Those 7 seconds are when the subconscious becomes most receptive. That's when you visualize, not vaguely, not like a distant dream. You imagine your desire as if it already exists right now. If you want a new home, don't just think house. See the details, the color of the walls, the texture of the floor beneath your feet, the sound of your voice inside the rooms, the morning sunlight through the windows, the smell of coffee in the kitchen. Make it vivid. The more sensory detail you create, the deeper the image reaches into the subconscious mind. But visualization alone is not enough. Emotion is what gives it power. The subconscious mind does not clearly distinguish between a deeply felt, imagined experience and a real one. If the emotion is strong enough, the body responds as though the experience is already happening. So during the breath hold, feel the emotions your fulfilled desire would create. Feel gratitude, feel excitement, feel relief, feel peace, feel joy. Not someday, now. And while holding those emotions, silently repeat a short affirmation connected to your intention. I am abundant. I am healthy. I am loved. I am successful. Use present tense language, not I want to become, not I hope. Speak as if it already exists, because to the subconscious, repeated emotional experiences become instructions. 7 seconds may sound short, but in an alpha-like state of deep receptivity, those seconds are enough to plant a seed, and with consistent practice, that seed begins to grow. But how you end the practice matters just as much as how you begin it. Most people finish the breathing, open their eyes immediately, grab their phone, and rush back into stress. That instantly disrupts the state they work to create. Instead, after your final cycle, stay still for a moment. Return to natural breathing slowly. Feel the calm throughout your body. Notice the weight of your body against the chair or floor. Ground yourself back into physical awareness without losing the inner stillness. Then comes the final step, gratitude. Express gratitude as though your desire has already arrived. Not gratitude for something you hope to receive later. Gratitude for something already present in your life. Thank you for the abundance in my life. Thank you for my health. Thank you for the love surrounding me. This signals certainty rather than lack. It tells the subconscious that you are no longer chasing the reality you want. You are beginning to embody it. When you feel ready, slowly open your eyes. Don't jump up immediately. Sit quietly for another minute and carry that feeling of calm confidence with you. Then bring it into the rest of your day. Let it shape your decisions, your actions, and the energy you bring into conversations and opportunities. Because over time, this practice changes something fundamental. You stop reacting to life automatically. You begin participating in it consciously. For this practice to truly work, there are a few important principles you cannot ignore. Consistency matters more than intensity. 5 minutes every day is far more powerful than one long session once a month. The subconscious changes through repetition. Every time you practice, you strengthen new neural pathways and emotional patterns. Miss a day, and the connection weakens. Practice regularly, and the new state slowly becomes natural. The best times to practice are early in the morning, right after waking up, or at night before sleep. At those moments, the boundary between the conscious and subconscious mind is naturally thinner. Your brain is already closer to the relaxed alpha state, which makes visualization and emotional programming much more effective. Morning practice sets the tone for your entire day. Instead of waking up and immediately diving into stress, news, and notifications, you begin by reconnecting with your own center. Evening practice helps clear the mind of accumulated tension and plants positive emotional patterns into the subconscious before sleep. And while you sleep, the subconscious continues processing and integrating those impressions. If 7-second breath holds feel uncomfortable, shorten them. This is not a competition. Forcing the body into discomfort creates stress, which closes the very doorway you're trying to open. Relaxation is the key. And there's one more technique that can deepen the practice even further, combining the breath with the mantra, so hum. As you inhale, silently think, so. During the breath hold, remain in silence while visualizing your intention. Then, as you exhale, This creates a powerful rhythm between breath, awareness, and intention, almost like tuning yourself to a calmer internal frequency. Now you understand the full process: preparation, breathing, visualization, emotion, affirmation, gratitude, and grounding. ACE. You understand both the ancient spiritual explanation and the modern scientific one. But there's one final truth you need to remember before you begin. Manifestation is not instant magic. It's a process. And this is where most people fail. They practice for a few days, don't immediately see dramatic external changes, and decide nothing is happening. But every seed requires time before it becomes visible. A farmer does not dig up the soil every morning to check if the roots are growing. He waters the seed, protects it, and trusts the process. Your subconscious works the same way. You plant the seed through repetition, emotion, visualization, and breath. Then, life begins reorganizing itself gradually, sometimes in obvious ways, sometimes in unexpected ones. Opportunities appear, new ideas arrive. People enter your life, old patterns begin breaking apart. Often the transformation starts internally long before it becomes external. And this is important. Manifestation is not passive wishing. It's active participation with life. You do your part by changing your inner state. Life responds by opening pathways that were invisible before. Remember the tortoise. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't doubt the sunrise. It simply moves in harmony with the rhythm of life. And because of that, it conserves enormous energy while most creatures exhaust themselves in constant struggle. You can live the same way, not trapped in endless stress and reaction, but grounded, focused, and aligned. The breathing practice you learned today is a tool for entering that state. Let's bring everything together. You learned about the tortoise that breathes only 4 times a minute and lives for more than 150 years. You learned that its secret may not simply be genetics or environment, but rhythm. You learned about the sacred pause between inhale and exhale, the moment ancient traditions believed opened the doorway to the subconscious mind. You learned the 4-7-8 breathing pattern, inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. You learned how to use that pause for visualization, emotion, affirmations, and subconscious reprogramming. You learned about the Soham mantra and the connection between breath and awareness. You learned the importance of gratitude, grounding, patience, and consistency. Now the knowledge is in your hands. But knowledge without action changes nothing. Transformation only happens through practice. So try this today. Not next week. Not when life becomes less busy. Today, start with just 5 breathing cycles. Observe what happens in your body. Observe what happens in your mind. Then return to the practice tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Over time, your breath becomes more than breathing. It becomes a bridge between who you are now and who you could become, between stress and clarity, between survival and creation, between the conscious mind and the deeper intelligence within you. Use that bridge consistently, and you may begin noticing subtle but powerful shifts in your life. More opportunities, more peace, more confidence, more alignment. Because the ancient secret carried by the tortoise is available to you too. The only question is this: will you take your first conscious breath today, or continue living on autopilot? Subscribe to the channel. Be happy and healthy.